Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. Hey everyone, my name is Luna, 25 female. I just ended a serious relationship with my ex-boyfriend which almost resulted in marriage a few weeks ago after I kicked my sister-in-law and mother-in-law out of my house. They all think I'm the a-hole and they keep blaming me for making them homeless. So I think it's about time I share my story with you guys to know your thoughts about the whole issue. I met Daniel, 28 male, at a time when I felt the world had nothing good to offer me. I mean, my mom died when I was 13 and my dad had to single-handedly raise my brother and me. But 3 years ago, while driving my little brother to school, they got involved in an accident and both died on the spot. Left alone, I almost ended my life. But then Daniel showed up and he gave me a reason to live on. We fell in love and have been dating since. I inherited my dad's apartment after his death and I stayed there all alone. Around last January, Daniel got a job in my neighborhood, but it was about a 2-hour drive from where he stays. So he asked to stay in my apartment for the time being till he rented one. I wasn't against it because he was my boyfriend. But barely 2 weeks after he moved in, I gained admission to one of the top universities in the States to do my master's in science. I was very happy. I entrusted the apartment to his care and left for the States. So back to the point where the entire mess began. Although we were far from each other, it didn't affect our relationship. Our long-distance love was all rosy, and 6 months ago, Daniel proposed to me. I accepted and we were supposed to start planning our wedding after I was done with my master's, which would have been in 2 months. However, all my dreams were short-lived after I made a shocking discovery in my apartment when I paid Daniel a surprise visit 3 months ago. I arrived at my apartment early in the morning to meet Daniel before he left for work. I was met with the biggest shock of my life. I rang the doorbell hoping to see Daniel, but then a lady about a year older than me was the one that answered. I angrily asked her what the F she was doing in my apartment, but to my uttermost surprise, she calmly told me that she lived there and that it was her brother's apartment. I was dumbfounded. I then asked to meet her brother, so she invited me inside. The inside of the apartment almost sent me collapsing to the floor. The room stinks, clothes were scattered everywhere, and 2 kids, who I believe were the lady's children, kept running all around the room. The walls of the room, which used to be white, were now brown from dirt. I had to stand because the chairs were not welcoming due to how messed up they were. After waiting for an eternity, Daniel finally came down to meet me, followed by his mom. On seeing me, Daniel ran to hug me, but I stopped him immediately. Funny enough, he still had the nerves to ask me what was wrong. I motioned him with my hand to look at the room and tell me what was wrong and explain what the F his family was doing in my apartment without my permission. He claimed since we would be getting married soon, he brought them over so I could get to socialize and familiarize myself with them. I asked him why he didn't tell me beforehand, and he said it wasn't necessary. I told him to let them move out immediately before I lost my temper. His mom then said I was being too arrogant for asking them to move out. So, since I would be marrying her son, I should show her some respect. I told her that respect was supposed to be both ways. They showed me none, so they shouldn't expect me to do so. To make matters worse, Daniel ordered them not to move out. He claimed he was the man in the house and his words were final, so I had no right to kick his family out. They just sat there unconcerned, staring at me. I angrily left to go and move their things out myself, only for Daniel to stand in my way. At that moment, I regretted loving someone like him. He clearly knew how dear the apartment was to me, but he still disregarded my feelings and let his family in without informing me. I told him that since he didn't want his family out, then he could go with them. I requested that we break up. He told me that I loved him too much to let go. So, he refused to leave. I left after telling him that he had a day to move out, or else I would involve the cops. He thought I was kidding because when I arrived with the cops the following day, they made no attempt to move out. The cops dragged them out and threw their stuff out. I called the moving company for them, and I was a little relieved when they finally left. I called the cleaning service to tidy up the apartment, and I paid off the piled-up bills as well. Here is the main issue leading to this post. Daniel called me a week ago asking for money. He said he wanted it to make a security deposit on a new house. He claims it was my responsibility to help him with that because I made them homeless. I blatantly told him to back off because I was never a cause, and there was no way I would spend a penny helping him again in this life after how he paid me back for my help in the past. So here I am writing this post to seek your honest judgment on the entire issue. Am I really an a-hole? I will keep you updated on any changes. Update. Thank you all for your honest comments on my post. Here is an update just like I promised. The past few days were very annoying as Daniel kept pestering me for the security deposit on his new house. I needed a break from all this, so I called the cops on him once more. They relayed my message to him. I told him that if he demands his security deposit from me once more, then I'll see him in court to end this mess. Ever since I haven't heard from him again. I'm glad I ended things with Daniel, but truthfully, I do miss him sometimes. However, I have gotten to that point in my life where I have decided to prioritize my happiness over any other thing. Thank you all for your help. You're not the a-hole, OP. I'm really happy you ended things with your ex and you refused to back down. He would have continued to take advantage of you, make decisions without consulting you, and act all superior over you because, according to him, he's the man of the house. Even after everything, he still didn't see his mistakes. And why would he, when he can just blame everything on you? So many red flags. Don't ever think of going back to him. I'm sure you'll find someone more suitable for you soon. Take care, OP. Story 2. My one roommate can be xenophobic. I grew up in an immigrant-oriented family in the US with a deeply multicultural extended family. 3 languages were spoken at home growing up, with 2 more at my grandparents' house. I didn't know my roommate had a xenophobia problem until after I moved in. He freaks out over my food and my tendency to shop at ethnic markets. He even went so far as to say that my love of getting food in our local Chinatown might be unsafe. This particular ethnic stereotyping made me wildly angry. My other roommate is pretty passive but also very open to other cultures and food. We have a standing policy of a house dinner or meeting once a week. I have started volunteering as the cook, to no one's objection, but instead of my previous tendency towards French and Italian food, I have been making primarily Chinese, Sichuan, Hunan, Cantonese, and Indian, Goa food. My second roommate has been delighted and asked to learn them. I grew up with these foods and I'm often using family recipes. But my second roommate keeps complaining that they are spicy. I explained to him tonight that the only hot spice in the dish was ginger. Am I an a-hole for inflicting food this guy is afraid of on him? I mean, ooh, scary, scary curry. But I only started this after he voiced his fear of what I've been doing my whole life. Not the a-hole, OP. Unless you're forcing food he doesn't like or want down his throat. You're doing a favor by cooking for them. It would be nice if you could make something you know everybody likes. But unless you're deliberately making things you know he won't eat all the time, you're not an ass. His reasons for not wanting the food are bigoted and horrible. But I don't exactly think that's relevant to your question. Now for some comments. I don't think this is xenophobia. He has a different problem. Not even Nazis are opposed to ethnic food. Spicy and Chinese food are standard in every Western household. Refusing to eat Chinese food because it might be unsafe sounds more like some OCD-related issue. Yes, the guy hates the food, albeit for weird and unjustified reasons. However, if someone cooked a food you hated the past few weeks for dinner day that they knew I didn't like, I would be rightfully irritated. Cook something all 3 of you like, and cook ethnic meals on other days of the week for yourselves and your other roommate. It's food, for Christ's sakes. It shouldn't matter where it came from. Your roommate just sounds like a dreadful C word, to be honest. Plus, there's 3 of you in the house. 2 of you enjoy multicultural food very much, and only 1 doesn't. Keep on doing it, because that's democracy, something that your roommate should be able to understand very well, since he doesn't appear to like any other country. So I would say no, you aren't the a-hole unless you are deliberately doing it to piss him off. If you're doing it because it tastes good and your other roommate likes it with you, then F whatever the other guy thinks. Story 3. So, my 35 females husband's 37 males family recently moved to our town to live close to us, and my brother-in-law, who got married a few months ago. My in-laws like to gather twice a month for dinner, and they would have me and my husband visit. 3-hour drive once a month. My mother-in-law wouldn't accept any excuse that I have work and have kids to take care of. She always wants the family gathered at her house. Last week, while we were visiting their new house, my husband made me spend X money for a gift that he didn't help with. Also made me carry boxes to help them move stuff into their house, while my brother-in-law's new wife sat on the couch and was served with coffee and sweets. He told them that he wanted to invite them over for dinner the next day, and he didn't even consult with me first. So I had to take the day off so I could prepare meals. I made the main dishes, appetizers, salad, and pound cake. They arrived at 7 p.m. Mother-in-law, brother-in-law's wife didn't move a finger. They were busy criticizing my table setting and giving advice. I put dinner on the table and my mother-in-law started asking why I used X ingredient instead of X ingredient, saying that she would have liked it. Then said that the salad was not necessary because no one liked this type of salad. My husband just agreed with her, telling me why I didn't do it this way or that way. I was getting mad and lost my appetite. Mother-in-law said the pound cake was not complete and didn't look delicious. My husband told her that he wanted to get one from the bakery, but I didn't allow him. The cake stayed the same while they ate what brother-in-law's wife brought and flattered her. After they left, I told my husband that his mom was being rude and mean to me the whole time, that he should have stopped her instead of agreeing with her. He said that he didn't defend me because I was in the wrong, and what I cooked was not so great, and that I embarrassed him in front of his family after having them try my cooking for the first time. I got mad at him and told him I will no longer invite his family for dinners. And he didn't like that since he told his mom that we will regularly invite them for dinner. He called me too sensitive and that I should just focus on cooking what they like instead. He thinks I'm overreacting, but I'm so angry and feel like I've been insulted and disrespected in my own house. Now for some comments. Your husband pulled this nonsense in your own home. The parents-in-law are not the problem here. Your husband is. You live with him and he told you that you were embarrassing, a bad cook, made you do all the work, and then told you he agreed with people bullying his wife. Your problem is your husband. Solve your husband's problem. That's what dropping the rope is called, and you should do that. Don't go to their crappy lunches. Let your husband take the kids and they can go without you. Don't take calls from in-laws. Don't talk to them. Don't talk about them. Just treat them as if they never existed in your life. And if your husband wants to complain about his mother's abusive behavior that is focused on him for a change, don't allow that either. He can grow up or you can find a better partner. If you weren't together, would your workload increase or stay the same? If it stayed the same, would the stress decrease from not having him ordering you around and doing everything he can to please his family through your work while taking all the credit if successful, but letting you take the blame if they don't like it? Do you want your children growing up thinking this is how a partnership is? Not saying divorce, but you do need to have a come to Jesus talk about not just the workload division in the home, but also how he bends over backwards for his family but not for you. If he's not receptive, then you know exactly where you stand, and if he sees you as an equal partner to love and cherish.